Aliia Roza, welcome back to the Jack Neel Podcast.
Thank you, Jack, for having me again. I'm so happy to see you.
How old were you when you realized that Russia had chosen you for espionage?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. To be honest, I didn't realize it till I actually became just like wise enough. It happened maybe less than 10 years ago. So all that time, I would say I've been brainwashed. And I was raised, as you know, by very patriotic father, a former high-ranking officer who gave me this, principles for life, that this is your homeland, you fight for your country, you fight for innocent people, especially when you see this, vulnerable, innocent, homeless kids, which would be kidnapped for sex human trafficking. And when I would see it, it just would make me so strong, understanding that I've done this special training so I can help them. I can do anything for them, sacrifice myself, sacrifice my life, my body, whatever, just to help them to escape that horror, being, used for sex trafficking and also eventually being killed, overdose or whatever. So I've seen it myself. So it just gave me so much power to go ahead. And it still does. It still does. So I just had a public speech in Washington in Capitol Hill where I spoke about the important global issue like human trafficking. And unfortunately, what I see, people don't really speak about it. And that's why I feel like it's my mission to bring awareness, especially for us adults, to educate children and bring awareness to this problem.
Do you feel as though you were kind of a victim of that as well?
I feel it now. I didn't feel it before. So because, as I said, I've been raised with this principle of like patriotism and helping somebody who is weaker than me. So I felt like this is my mission. This is what I can do. This is how can I help. And this is the, my destiny. This is the thing what I do in my life. And this is important. So I didn't really feel that I was a victim. I didn't feel that I was myself basically sex trafficked by my government. If you really look at this situation I've been. So yeah, I didn't. But I understood it after, like many, many years ago, when I worked with enormous therapists for many years. Eventually, I realized that I've been used.
Why did you want to join the military?
So because of my father, right? I was a very nerdish kid, very shy. I was bullied because I was the only one Asian kid in the whole school, full of like this, beautiful kids, blonde with blue eyes. And you know how it is. I mean, like people can resonate with that. When you're a kid and somebody is not the same, it's quite common, they bully this kid. So I was bullied a lot. And also I had a very strict environment at home. So I was not allowed to, go for a party or like hang out with friends. I was a nerd. I was just reading books and studying very well. And then my father would also train me every single day with different stuff like physical activities. At some point, I was a master in sport as the runner. So I was really good in, running and jogging, all this stuff. So I was really sport-ish girl. And then when I turned 18, I told my dad, I want to go to work in fashion industry. And he's like, what is fashion? Especially in Soviet Union, there were no brands. Like people literally didn't know what is Dior or Chanel. Like literally no. Like nobody really read like Vogue or Tatler or whatever magazines. And since I remember myself, I would stitch and tailor these little clothes for my dolls. And I always wanted to be different because Soviet Union, it was iron curtains, and people didn't see anything outside. Like, they didn't know what's happening in the world, and everybody looked exactly the same. So it would be like clones of like this, like, people, same clothes, same cars, same houses, apartments, furniture in the houses, everything. It's like crazy, but that's the way they lived. And I wanted to be different. So when my dad said at 18, okay, there is no even discussion, there is no other option, you have to go to follow our family footsteps, because my grandfather was a national hero, and it's a huge pride and heritage that his name, our family name, engraved in the monument of Stalingrad, which is the hero city where the biggest fight was during Second War. And then my dad served in the military all his life. And I couldn't say no. First of all, I also come from Muslim background. We were not really into, my parents were never really like into Muslim and would go to mosque, no. But still, the whole kind of like family structure would be like that. So for example, my mom, she would never work, and she was there only to serve my dad and raising kids. And that's the way it was. Like, as a woman, you couldn't say no or be disobedient to your man, to your husband, to your father, to your brother. So I really couldn't say no. So when he brought me to my first apartment and introduced me to his former colleague, my future commander, I just tried to adapt to this situation, that's all. But it was really weird. Like, I wanted to run away, to be honest. I just couldn't do anything.
What was the last day that felt normal?
To be honest, Jack, like, it's... Even now, every single day is not normal for me. I even don't know how to live a normal life. Or maybe I wish, seriously. I wish sometimes to have a job from 9 to 6, come back home, watch Netflix or whatever, and just go to bed and then have the same day over and over again. But I can't, because I do understand why. And I think that because of my traumas and everything, I just cannot have this lifestyle. So I'm always on the go. I'm always doing something. I do a lot of projects right now. And before, when I was in the military, or I was doing like different missions or whatever, it's been just nonstop. It's, when you get used to live like double life all the time, you have always this mentality that, okay, this is you, sort of like this is your life right now here, let's say in this country, in this city. As you know, I lived in so many countries, like Switzerland, England, France, Italy, Greece, of course, Russia, and some other countries where I just stayed a little bit. But living in different countries and adapting to that culture, learning languages and building the whole life there, but on the back of your mind, you still live the second life.
How many languages do you speak?
I used to speak 5, now I speak just 2. When I go to France, I remember French. When I go to Italy, I remember Italian. Yesterday I spoke with Greek people, so I spoke in Greek. But of course, you lose languages when you don't practice it like on a daily basis.
So you're kind of saying that you never really realized what you were chosen for, but what was maybe unique about like the espionage program, like the training, that, I don't know, maybe a typical military man, it wouldn't be the case for them?
It's so different. For example, espionage agents can do so many different things, right? There could be agents on the field who are, let's say, in some places like in other countries or whatever, and they need to recruit potential informers. So they operate only there. For example, there are agents who work in the offices, and they are sort of like your brain. They are the one who would get all the information for you and just gather this information and analyze it and help you with the mission and so on. They're agents who would work in different departments as well, and those who kind of like sort of like James Bond, who would go and terminate targets also, right? So there's so many different varieties of this profession, where sexpionage profession is a particular job where, as an agent, you kind of like a bait. So you're the one who would go and seduce the target for different reasons. For example, for recruiting this target to become an informer for the government you work to, or terminate the target, depends, or build long-lasting relationships. And that's what we see in this Times magazine, the article about this Chinese and Russian female spies in Silicon Valley who build this, relationship, long-lasting, having families and having kids with this tech and CEOs of big corporations. So this is also part of this job, and depends from the mission, depends from the target. You can do like absolutely different. You may heard about stories where there would be a mission where agent, for example, female agent would seduce the target, and then there would be another missions where eventually the target would be used and then eventually killed. So it all depends from the mission, really. But you, of course, as an agent of sexpionage, you have to be trained like we were. First of all, psychological techniques. And this is the foundation of everything. This is not just the art of seduction, but it's just foundation of psychology, the human psychology. Understanding human needs, understanding their desires, and giving them what they want in terms of creating this sort of environment for them where they feel good about themselves, where they trust you, where they feel like they can do with you something together, where you become this support for these targets. Okay, so you can guide them, and basically you can sort of create that desire to share with you important classified information without even them understanding that. So it's very subtle manipulation. But if you do it correct, the target would never even understand. You know how many targets men who were caught by the government because of the sexpionage operations, they would say, no, it was a pure love. She really loved me. No, I don't believe in that. You know how many, almost all of them, they really believe that it was a pure love. Yes.
And these are intelligent guys usually?
Of course. We're talking about, so look, who are those targets? As I just mentioned, according to the Times magazine, which is this is a really, this is a proven information. These men are very intelligent. They have very high positions. They are really, super smart. But yet, it's a different thing. It's psychology, especially men's psychology. And 90% of these men who've been targeted by female spies, they would never even agree or understand or believe that it was only for a job. They believe that it was a real thing, a real feeling.
I do want to kind of understand the timeline or just the story, and no need to rush over any of these parts, but just from day one of you saying, of your dad saying you have to join the military to before your first mission, what kind of happened in those?
So many things. I think like my life, like just everything what I believed, everything what I've been raised with is just changed in 1 second. I was very disappointed, and I think it broke me even till now. I work on that and everything, but I know it's a big trauma because look, when you are raised with these beliefs that your government, your country, your home, this is your support, this is like everything for you, like you live here, it's your family. And then when you see the reality of that, when you see that the government you live at is very corrupted, that people who has the power, they can do anything with you, and they just use you for their own needs or goals. When you understand that your life doesn't mean anything, it's very hard to accept, especially when I was at 18 years old, this period of our life when we are very, sensitive, and we have this like romanticized feeling about our life and the country we live at, right? You kind of like, you want to believe in the best, and then you see the reality is just, it cannot sit in your mind, like how is it even possible? And it happened with me literally in a few days when I was enrolled to my department after my dad brought me there and introduced me to all my future colleagues, my commander and so on. My former colleague, who was higher rank, of course, that time we didn't have cell phones. So he called to my home. My dad picked up the phone, and it was about 8 p.m. So it was evening. And my colleague said, well, we have this alarm in the city. She has to come because she needs to help out with the whole thing. And she needs to be in office to help other agents to catch the murder. And my dad, yeah, of course she's coming. So it's an alarm, like you're supposed to go and, just any time of the day or night, you're supposed to come and do your job. So I come to my department and I realized that there were no other agents, and it was just me and this man, my colleague officially, right? And seeing my dad from early age wearing a uniform, being like so noble and, serving to the country and helping people, protecting them, I trust this man because he is in the power. So this man who has the power, who has the high rank and so on, and he's literally like my commander, he me without even like asking on an understanding. First of all, that I was virgin at that time. My dad brought me there and he saw him, and my dad had quite established name there. So it wasn't just like a girl from the street, and despite all these facts, he still did it. And he, he threatened me. And the thing is, why I stand for women empowerment, why I do public speeches, why I coach women, it's all because of when anyone, man or women, when we are in these situations, we have this psychological kind of like stuck. We cannot run really, and we kind of like froze. So I was in this state, and what I teach women, if you are ever in these situations, you need to know some techniques, like also self-defense techniques, how to speak with this sort of like, criminals, literally, how to present yourself with this power and strength so they won't be able to do it. You literally can help yourself. I didn't know it. I was too young. I didn't expect it at all. And he raped me. And it was a huge trauma for me because like all my beliefs just broke at that moment. And I couldn't say anyone and I couldn't go anywhere. And I didn't know what to do. It's like that situation where you feel completely lost, you know, with everything. It wasn't just like the guy from the street. Maybe it would be for me, it would be maybe easier. Okay, so he's random guy, criminal, whatever. But this guy is my colleague. Like he has the power. He works for the government. Like what the heck? Why would you do this? You know, like couldn't you do it to someone else? And like how can you be, you know, a criminal working and wearing the military uniform? You know what I'm saying? It's just like broke everything inside of me that moment. And then it just became like a non-stop, I would say, a sexual abuse, which at that time I felt I was in a victim mentality. So I was completely lost and I couldn't do anything. Like I was completely like, you know, in this situation where it's really hard to say, but I felt like I was passed by one man to another man in the military so they could just use my body or whatever. And I couldn't say no. And this is the hardest thing. And that's what I teach women, especially, to stand for yourself, to stand for your rights, to stand for your, you know, no. And it's so important to say no. Of course, it's very scary, but you have to for yourself. And it took me many years to be able to say no and stand for what I want and what I need. And it's super hard, but you have to do it. And now, being at this age right now, I look back and I wish there would be a female coach, just someone who could actually, or I wish to have like social media or whatever and like watch like YouTube or something so I could feel that I'm not alone and I would hear these advices from somebody else who've been through this situation. So that's what I'm really like, you know, this is the main message of everything I do. It's just to stand for yourself, to stand for your rights, to say no when you really want to say no, even though it's very scary. But my no after brought me here, where I'm sitting just in front of you sharing my story. If I wouldn't say no, I would still work there. Like, I know this. If I wouldn't say no, I would be in Russia. And who knows, would I be alive or not?
Quick side note, something I thought was strange, and I have the stat here, it's 80% of people pay way too much for their car insurance. And for the people listening to the podcast right now, I hope you guys know that my goal is for you to either make money, save money, or find truth. So I found this useful tool. Basically, you just put in your zip code, how many cars you own, and it instantly shows you whether or not you could be saving money. It's super accurate, it's free, and the whole process takes less than a minute. So if you want to try it out and figure out if you could be saving money right now as we speak, just go to jackneel.com/auto or scan the QR code on screen. You can also hit the first link in the description, but anyway, guys, back to the podcast. When you talk about these events happening to you, you said this was a consistent thing for a few years, many years?
Yeah, well, the whole thing I was there, yes. Like, it's just nonstop. I did say no when I learned eventually all the techniques which they were giving to us in this espionage program, because they made me realize everything about human, especially men's psychology. So it's not just like techniques on how to seduce men or how to whatever. It's basically understanding the nature of man, which is so amazing. It just gave me so much power I didn't have before. And when I realized that, and when it gave me also this strength and this sort of inner support, because I feel like as more knowledge as we know, as more confident we are in different situations. So eventually, yes, I was passed by from one man to another, being threatened all the time and abused and lied and so many things. Eventually, the commander that time I was with passed me to his friend who was my next commander of another department. And that was my last department in Russia. It was Department of Fighting Human and Drug Trafficking. So this man was so gross to me. I mean, he was just disgusting. And he had this energy where he's like a total, like total shark who doesn't. So he is a pure, corrupted officer who doesn't care about anything apart from just money and like just pleasing himself. And you can tell, like I would already like kind of like understand the whole thing and I would see it. And he was so direct. He said, if you will not sleep with me, I will destroy your life. And I will do everything you to die, or you would be disabled, or you'd go to jail. Like I have power enough. That time he was a general in having like rank of general. So he had this power over me, of course. And I was very, very scared of him. And I knew that if I would be disobedient and if I would not follow his orders, like he really can destroy my life, which he was trying to do actually. But I'm so proud of myself that time, that moment, that I did say no. Like I said no, and I was so shocked. Like I remember that moment when I said it, I was, my heart just dropped, and I was like, what did I do? I mean, like, I didn't regret, but I remember that after having an injury when I was sent to the Chechen war, where he sent me there just to kind of like teach me a lesson. I remember that when my former colleague died just in front of me when he was shot. I remember that moment when I said no, when those criminals bat me almost to death, where the only one man who was my target actually saved me. I remember that no. And that no led me to that situations which could destroy and kill me, and to this situation where we are right now speaking about it. You see, the life is so beautiful and predictable and so amazing. You really make your own choice, really, and you choose your future 100%.
So when you said no, was that about the time that these military officers stopped taking advantage of you and you could kind of just go about your work normally?
What happened? Okay, let's say like this. If you are desirable woman in the military, any department, you know that they're like 10% of female working there, right? So they're always somebody's, more beautiful, somebody more smart, how like people divide women. So those women who were the most popular, let's say desirable, they would be sort of belong to the main boss, the main commander. So it's like his girl. So others cannot touch her. Okay? When I didn't have that sort of like protection, that time when I was in the military academy, I had to go through all these situations where I was in my dorm. I just stepped into my academy where I started my education, and I was in my dorm getting ready to bed. And then my former student, like colleague, who was like in the same class. He just walks into my room, just pulled me to the floor and just fucked me. Like, and I was like, and I couldn't do anything, like nothing. So yes, of course that would happen till the moment where I would get my sort of like protector, which was the highest rank of this colonel that time. He was the main commander of the academy, like the main teacher, I would say. And then he would tell everybody off, and I was his girl. And then in this case, he sort of like protected me. Otherwise, I would end up like other female students who would be in this situation where they were raped. And nobody would call it as a rape. It was like normal situation, you know?
Were the women your friends, I guess?
My female classmates, yeah.
Did you all see it as negative, or were there some of you that were like, this is just
it?
normal?
Oh, I was just raped. I loved it.
No, I know. Like, did it feel like some were so brainwashed to just think, oh, this is normal, this is what a woman is supposed to do?
Yeah.
And is that how you felt as well at that time, or did you think it was like, this is wrong?
Well, it's absolutely wrong. But you do understand that living in this environment, I wouldn't say it would be everywhere, but come on, it was Soviet Union, and just for people to understand, women didn't have any rights at all. Wherever you work, wherever you were doing, like even like if you would say to Gulag, you know, men would use your body if they would want to. And I think like even now they don't really have the law which actually gives enough wherever, like, you know, jail or something, like they literally have like a punishment for the rape. That time nobody actually could even prove that it was a rape. So women, they didn't have that protection from government as well. So and also the mentality was like, oh, if you were, then this is your mistake because you seduced the guy, or because you were wearing the wrong clothes, or because you put mascara or lipstick, you know. So they would accuse you. And it's actually been from many, many centuries, because even an amazing poet Pushkin wrote about one story where in like 17th century the woman was, and people in that village or city, wherever, they accused her, telling that it's her mistake because she's too beautiful, whatever, and she had to die. Women, they didn't have that right. So obviously when I was working there and I've seen all that, and I don't know what's happening right now, I hope it's better, but women didn't have that choice. And if she would be in this situation where she would be like, whatever, she couldn't even do anything about that.
I know you spoke on another podcast about this idea of, you felt like some of this was like their own dark desires in a way, if not most of it. And then maybe some of it was like trying to train you to be used to this kind of thing, to be more effective as a sex spy. How do you feel about that concept?
That's what I was explained by my commander, the colonel, who became eventually my sort of like long-term sex partner, I would say. I don't know, who was actually like sexually abusing me all the time. So he said to me that everything what is happening in this situation, you were giving these subjects on theory, like psychological techniques, like influence, manipulation, persuasion, seduction. But this is the practice. So, and the most important is for a female agent to be completely unemotional, especially having an intercourse with the target or whatever. Because as you know, according to female psychology, women get attached to men after first intercourse. And this is the female nature. Men don't, women do. So they sort of like taught us how to dissociate and dislocate your emotions from your body. So your body lives completely separate, you know, and you still can experience orgasms and you still can have a pleasure and just like be playful and whatever, right? Like the body reactions. So it's all real. But then on the other hand, emotions, feelings, or anything like that is just completely separate. There's nothing attached. There's no emotional attachment. There is no connection to your emotions. So it's completely separated, which actually works because I can tell you right now, I still cannot do it. Like I wish, but I can't. I simply cannot. Like I did try, didn't work out, still doesn't. So yeah, that program was really, you know, strong. And sometimes my students, my girls, they come to me, they ask me, how do I get disattached from this guy? How do I get into this point when, you know, we have sex and then the next day I don't miss him, I don't care about him? How do I get there? And I'm like, you don't want to. Enjoy this amazing feeling. It's so beautiful. Like it's
not something you can get back.
I cannot. No. Like I was asked yesterday, have you ever experienced this feeling when you really miss someone at the point where you cannot actually even work or do something because you're constantly thinking about this person? Have you?
It's been a few years. Yeah.
Great, amazing. You have this experience. I didn't. I have no idea about all this stuff.
Do you think your first commander, you were attached to him?
No, absolutely not.
Really?
No. I actually hated him, to be honest. I had to survive in order not to be fucked by the rest of those, you know, male commanders and teachers and whatever they were. They were so disgusting. You don't understand. Like this, my former female students, they went through orgies. This is disgusting. They had to do it because like this was part of the training, you know, that was the part of what they had to do. This is so ridiculous. I mean, like now thinking about it, like, I mean, how, like all of us, we were in such a victim mentality to actually doing that. But come on, this is such, we were very naive. We were all, I was 18. My classmates were like 18, 22. All of them before 25. They were particularly choosing girls for the future, to become future female agents, till 25-ish years old. Not to like be kind of like in any love sort of situations, be basically single or didn't have like previous situations or relationships. They had to be tall enough. They had to be beautiful enough. They had to be intellectual enough and sport-ish sort of enough. So they were perfectly chosen, these women, because they knew that that would be the, I would call it like harem, you know, like...
yeah, the girls that they could be with.
Yeah. But then they would sort of cover it up with saying that, okay, so it's a training, it's a job. You know, like I actually heard this comment from a former CIA agent who said that, and I totally agree with him. He said that, imagine how corrupted this system is, that those male officers, they cover up the sort of like harem, or we call it like, let's say, whorehouse, which is the academy, in order to please themselves, right? But they just like have power enough to orchestrate the whole thing, saying like, oh, basically this is for the government, we prepare you for being a super agent. Like, how fucked up is that?
It makes you wonder, like, how much stuff that we see happen that no one gets in trouble for is being done by the government.
I would say this. Mostly of the things have been done by the government and secret services. But the thing is, people do not know, and maybe they should know. You know, they're not... I still wonder, okay, so I understand the whole thing, okay? I see through, like, obviously the whole manipulation stuff, blah, 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 what's happening in media, in political, like, you know, environment and in the world. And I wonder, maybe we shouldn't even, like, open someone's eyes because, you know, people, they will be in panic. Like, maybe it's not daytime. Maybe they don't want to. You know, it's like in the Matrix movie, you know, red or blue pill. Maybe he's not ready for the red pill. He doesn't want to go there, right? I can show the door, but I cannot open the door and push the person, okay, go and see the world and understand what's happening. Maybe he doesn't need to. Maybe he's okay working in his job and watching like movies and drinking his beer and the life is good. But I cannot live this life, which is like, you know, I may be kind of like thinking maybe I want to like live in this sort of matrix, but I cannot because I know too. Well, I cannot say it. I don't know too much, but it's just I understand a lot.
Wow. Andrew Tate and we just had a conversation
About that
exact thing.
Interesting. I want to watch that interview.
I think you'll understand it.
My son, for example, he's very advanced. He comes to me and he says, Mom, so here's the situation with my friends. Would I do this or this or this, according to psychology? I would tell him, we would discuss that. And he told me yesterday, actually, Mom, why do I feel like he's the youngest in the group of his friends? But he said, why do I feel so different? Like, I feel like I understand more or I'm wiser, whatever. Like, I'm not really interested in like what they discussing, what they do. And I'm like, why do you think so? And he's like, well, because I'm your son. And like, I just learned from you because I can see, you know, the way you live, the way you speak, the way you analyze. And this is like DNA. I'm like, well, I guess so. So we're really product of our parents. And that's important.
That's definitely true. Yeah.
So it's actually going back to your first question. Why did I feel like this way and everything? When my dad sent me to the military, I was a product of my father. I couldn't see the world in a different way. I saw the world only the way he showed me. Okay? So I thought this is the right thing to do. This is how I'm supposed to live. It's like, you know, this horses, when you put this thing here, so they don't see like what's happening left, the right side. They only see one road in front of them. That's the way I lived.
How many girls were in school with you at this program?
At this particular program, when I was there, that time it was 5, including me. But, okay.
So that's like a top program, would you say?
I don't know, would it be top or not? I think it was just precisely for particular operations. I wouldn't say what I understood. It would be a massive common thing where we have to, you know, educate certain amount of female agents. I don't think so. I think it's sort of exclusive for sure. Maybe it's not every year like they have this sort of groups. I think it's all about educating these agents for a particular missions. For example, I've seen and I know one story where that time quite successful, famous lady had to go through the same program, and she was not working in the, secret intelligence agency. She was just, that time she was like public figure. But she had to go through this program because she had a target and she needed to learn some techniques and some, get some knowledge about how to get the target, seduce the target and all that.
So this was in Soviet Union?
No, that time, so I was born in Soviet Union because I was born in 1984, right? Then when I was enrolled, I was 18 and it was 2002, which is 1991, the USSR fall. And that time it was perestroika, which was sort of like,
Like a few territories plus Russia, right?
Yeah, it's like all these post-Soviet countries, like including mine. Kazakhstan was part of Soviet Union, then they got separated, right? And then, Armenia and Georgia and so many other, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, all these countries, they got separated. And because of this separation from 1991, the whole economy of Soviet Union collapsed. And it caused so much crime in that territory. And that's why that time Vladimir Putin established special organizations fighting particularly for this kind of problems like drug trafficking coming from Afghanistan, or like fighting the terrorism, because that time it was a Chechen war which lasted like for 10 years, on and on. Like, so it was kind of like according to the events, what was happening in Russia after USSR fall. And that's why, according to the separations, they were choosing who did they want to kind of like educate or enroll on something for their missions. So it wasn't really a common thing. I wouldn't say so.
I do want to touch back because you said that you never really feel this feeling like, oh, you can't work because you love someone so much, or because you love someone so much, like you don't really get attached. So you never fell in love with one of your targets?
No. I've never been in love. I really don't know what does it mean, to be honest. I want to. I came to the point where I realized I want to feel it. Like everybody talk about like, I want to feel it. But no, I think that I have a respect for men. I appreciate them. But that's what we discussed, like, oh, you like wake up and you think about someone and you miss them and you just like constantly thinking about them. No.
What's the darkest mission that you've never talked about publicly?
Well, I cannot talk about it because otherwise.
Is there anything that you're open to sharing that maybe you haven't shared before?
Okay, let me think. Honestly, there were a lot of things. A lot of, I would say, not like missions, but like sometimes there were like short operations. But what?
I think I know what you mean by that.
Very short, like see, get, kill. I would say this is the darkest I can go.
Right. What's like the fastest you've completed a mission from the time you got the name of the target to?
Okay, it's actually very logical. You go to the bar, club. You pick up your target, which takes you about, depends, but let's say from 20 to an hour approximately, right? Then you establish the trust. So it would be another, if you do it right, it would be another hour. So let's say 2 hours of this foreplay, okay? Enough alcohol, enough maybe drugs, depends. So you have like 2 hours. Then, of course, you already prepared in advance the hotel room or the place you're supposed to bring your target, and which will take you another So it has to be fast. So your target's still like unconscious, sort of, still in this allure feeling of exciting upcoming intercourse with this intriguing woman, right? So it's another like 10, maybe 15 minutes. And of course, as you know, men are the most vulnerable when they are on a peak of their orgasm pleasure or just after the orgasm. But ideally, that moment when they just like on the peak, that's the ideal for termination. And intercourse, I mean, if you do it like straight away without all this like small talks or whatever, or having a shower, something like that, which basically should be fast, right? You don't want to lose that moment of excitement of your target. So it's another ideal intercourse is about 10, 11 minutes. So it's fast enough and you can go through like the whole thing. Maybe a bit less. Depends from the health of your target also, because you need to bring him to this arousal state. So I would say the foreplay, let's say 2 hours, the introduction, seduction, the whole thing. And then the termination, it's quite fast. So it's like, 10, 15 minutes. And then you have to leave very quickly because you don't want to be caught, of course. 2.5 hours.
Like during intercourse, you just pull out a gun? Like,
I mean, there are a lot of things.
right.
Right. Okay, you cannot carry the gun to public places. So I wouldn't be able to use the gun,
But it would be in the hotel room, surely.
Could be, depends. If it's already prepared and it's already hidden somewhere, yes, for sure. But when you are having intercourse, where are you supposed to put your gun?
Fair.
You have only one place to hide it. Oh, you can't, you use it. Sorry. It's a funny joke. Anyway, okay, so you don't really use guns there. Besides, you're in a public place, it's hotel, it may be loud and all this. So, not really guns. Different kind of like whatever weapons, but not guns. Guns are good, you know what? Guns are good when you're not in this seduction situation. When you're chasing someone and it's just, you need to kill someone straight away fast. But it's another type of agents. They are not sex espionage agents. Sex espionage agents do not orchestrate like that. Also, mostly of my work, I've done it together with my team. There is like a team of like termination team, like the team who finish, like we would call it sort of like the finish team, and the team of cleaners. Somebody has to come and clean all the mess you've done, right? So in this case, me as a sex espionage agent would do all this foreplay and then bring the target to the state of the most vulnerable state. Then at the same moment or wherever, or like the agent would be already in the room hiding or just walking in with the weapon, finish the target, and then the cleaner after the whole, like after we would leave or like during or whatever, depends, come and clean the whole room. So that's it. So it would give you another maybe like 30 minutes. So literally like 2 to 3 hours. You can totally orchestrate the whole mission and finish it.
So you wouldn't try to make it look like they took their own life or anything?
Well, depends. And then like what for? You know, depends from, if it's, it would be only good if the target is really high class somebody, like a diplomat or like politician or like a, you know, usually not even just like a businessman or like business person. It could be these people who are very close to the government, then yes.
But criminals, it's more likely that they would just be killed by someone.
Yes, of course. And it's the easiest thing because imagine you have to create this fake social scene, right? and you still can leave a lot of evidences. So, right, you don't want it. And then in this case, sex espionage agents, you don't really need them if it's a social thing. When somebody is trying to, would he be aroused? It's not logical.
I'm saying specifically like making it look like he took his own life.
On life. Yeah, but then look at on autopsy, they would check the whole body, right? So imagine this victim, let's say, had ejaculation just before the fake surgery. It's weird. You know what I'm saying? So why do you need sex espionage agent then? You just need two strong guys who would just put the rope on the just like, or just push him from the window. That's it. You don't need the female agents there.
I guess to just get him in the hotel room in the first place.
But then, okay, the thing is, okay, then the police will, do investigation. The room is on what name? Why he was in that particular room?
Right. You're on the camera, stuff like that.
Yeah, like it's so weird. Like, who did bring him there? It's not even his room. There's so many whys. So yeah, I would say sex espionage agents, they have, that's what I said, like they have particular, precise job direction. So as I said, it's only 3 options. 1, to establish long-term trust relationships where they could even go to creating family and kids and all that. 2, recruiting the informer, and it's sort of also kind of like long-lasting relationships and whatever. And 3, it's a short operation with determination in the end. That's it. The only 3 options.
Would you say most of yours were like eliminating the target or getting intel from targets?
Getting intel for sure. Espionage agents, they are focusing on getting information from the target and make the target to work sort of for you, to deliver information, to get something, to get some classified information. So in reality, you don't want to kill your informer. Your informer is your most important person. So you actually like take care about this informer as your kid. So in reality, you don't want to kill him.
It's interesting. As someone working for Russia at this time, did you have like an idea of what agencies around the world were like the most powerful? Like, did you ever interact with other?
You know how it is in Russia, right? They always say like Russian army is the most powerful, as Russian KGB, and this is actually a fact. Everybody could agree with that. Russian, that time, KGB was the most powerful secret intelligence agency in the world, which I would say, yeah, because they had, I would say, they didn't really have that human sort of like principles. That's why they use sex espionage agents and female and male. That's why they succeeded in so many operations, including Second War. That's why, they just created really powerful network of agents around the globe. I would say yes, they were. I don't think about right now because I think right now China is the...
Really?
I mean, look, even according to the news, they're like mostly Chinese female agents operating everywhere. I mean...
A lot of people say like Mossad is fairly sophisticated on the, not the like on the ground operations, but like as far as the intelligence aspect goes.
I cannot say the name, but I will share with you very classified information from the person who actually works in their like investigation, espionage cases around the globe. And this person confirmed that China and Russia are the most powerful. Then it goes to Mossad. then it goes to CIA, and then it goes to MI6.
Quick question. Are you someone that has a lot of money in crypto? Because if you're like me, you're worried about getting hacked, or if you have a hard wallet, losing it, someone stealing it, or just forgetting your password. That's why I was so relieved when I met the guys at iTrust Capital. They told me they have a premium custody account, which basically means money can only move in and out from your bank account. No external wallets, no random transfers, so you can never get hacked or drained. So if you want to keep your crypto safe, just go to jackneel.com/iTrust or scan the QR code on screen. Again, that's jackneel.com/iTrust if you want to sleep better at night knowing your money's stored with the same companies that BlackRock, Fidelity, and Coinbase Prime are all using. But anyway, guys, back to the podcast. People say India as well is pretty sophisticated.
I asked the same question. I was wondering right now, what's the most powerful secret intelligence? And he said, like, yeah, it's China and Russia still. Then it goes to, Mossad and MI6 suck, basically. I don't know, but probably, yeah.
Just to give people an idea of like how you're sitting here right now, why were you forced to or able to leave Russia?
There is a really logical explanation, to be honest. First of all, after I've been exposed in front of the criminal groups, because I was a mole and they knew about it, that's why they wanted to kill me. Second, they wanted revenge because, they lost a lot of people and a lot of heroin and a lot of money because of me and my team.
And what kind of group was this? And do you refer to your target as Vladimir?
Yeah, so it was the group of Vladimir, right? They wanted to, my commander, the one who was the worst, whom I said no, he wanted to remove Vladimir and install there his sort of protege, who was another criminal, in order to get corruption money from distribution drugs from Afghanistan. That time, I didn't know about that. We only realized it with Vladimir in the end of the whole thing. Neither Vladimir knew or could imagine that his own business partner, criminal partner, and the friend from many years could basically set him up like that. So when my commander sent me to this mission, he already knew it is a setup, but he didn't really care because in any situation, wherever would happen, he knew that he would get rid of Vladimir because Vladimir didn't want to, he did that for some time when he got money and power, but he wanted to legitimize himself eventually. He wanted to become sort of like a businessman. You know how many criminals in Russia at that time became after sort of oligarchs and businessmen, but they first money were built from criminal activities. So Vladimir at that time, he wanted to do the same. So he was kind of shifting away from the drug trafficking, whereas my commander wanted more money. So eventually my name was exposed in the criminal world. The criminals were trying to, finish me that night. And then Vladimir, because he was still a leader and they still obeyed to him, they still listened to him, they brought me to him where we spoke with him. We realized the whole thing that it was a setup for me and for him. And he helped me to escape that night. He told me he wanted to stay because he couldn't leave his team, because he literally raised that homeless, that time kids left in perestroika after USSR fall. He built that gyms, sort of houses where all these homeless kids, boys, 10, 15 years old, could go and live and have a roof and have food and have a brotherhood. And when they would train and Vladimir's team would raise them and train them, they would become his army. That's how actually Vladimir built his army, which was so loyal. So he couldn't leave them and just escape with me or go wherever just because he had this responsibility in front of his sort of kids. And he wanted to, I guess, explain to them or do something. Or he wanted to maybe have a talk with that friend who set him up. But eventually, just in a few months, he was murdered by his own people. And that was the end of the story. Whereas in that situation, when I heard that and I realized that, I understood that there is no way they will just leave me and say okay, let's just forget about her. They would still track me down and would still look for me. At the same time, and just before all this happened, that night when my name was exposed in the criminal group, I had a conversation with the main commander where I brought him all the evidences that my own commander was corrupted. And that time I didn't know exactly that it was a setup, but I had a lot of evidences. So my former colleague that time who was working with me on this case and he was killed, he did spy on our commander and he had some evidences, some photos and audios that my commander was meeting with that criminal, the future leader, who actually did become a leader of that group, and they still continuing the criminal activities. So everything they planned happened.
So your commander and the second in command of the criminal group maybe chatted together and kind of set this whole thing up.
I don't know about that main commander. Maybe. Okay? Maybe. At this point, I can tell you that the whole thing, the whole system is corrupted. Perhaps, yes. It's a lot of money. I'm talking about millions of dollars.
And why did they choose you to be set up?
Whom else? I was the only one female agent working in that department. Whom else? Number 2, he hated my God because I said no when he wanted to fuck me. Of course. Let's just put her there. Who cares about her? Let's just provoke the whole thing, provoke criminals. Whatever happened, anyway, we'll get rid of Vladimir and you'll become a new leader and we will continue getting our money from the whole drug trafficking. Good plan, right? Very logical. So, eventually, I would say this, and this is something which I cannot really disclose, but I couldn't really completely remove myself from my job, but I had sort of a deal, let's call it like this, where I could leave Russia with another identities and live in this hidden sort of world, having sort of a double life. I didn't do anything crazy anymore. Besides, I had my child, whom I was raising alone. And nobody really knew about my past. I never shared. And then one day, after 6 years living in the UK, doing my own stuff or whatever, after meeting with British royal family members, literally in a few weeks, the UK government deported me. So I couldn't do anything. I don't know why. I have some maybe ideas why. But I think Probably like the security checked me out or whatever, I don't know. So the only one visa, and I couldn't go back to Russia because, already the story. Which, I mean, theoretically I can. I choose not to, but yeah, they invited me saying like, okay, if you come back, you'll get government house, the government car, and you will have a good salary according to the economy. So at that time, luckily, I had my tourist US visa. So I come here and straight away I speak with different lawyers, immigration lawyers. And my lawyers, different, at least 5 of them, I had like consultation, I spoke with them. They said to me that, and don't forget, when I came here, it was the beginning of COVID. And it was beginning of Ukraine war. So it was such a big like tension with everything was happening like in the world. You remember the time? So my immigration lawyers strongly advised me to go public for many reasons. 1, for not to be deported. 2, to cut all details with the Russian government, not to be contacted or whatever again, to do potentially other missions, which I don't want to do, and I don't want to like be connected and work or whatever, completely expose myself, my face and everything in order not to be approached by any of the secret intelligence services or government structures.
Because they won't approach you if you're public?
Of course not. Once you're public, that's it. You're done. Once you are public and once you speak about the things, like nobody would, who would approach you? Like, I walk in the streets, people recognize me. Oh, you're former Russian spy. That's it. This is probably
so they wouldn't
the
want
best.
you for espionage anymore. That makes sense to me.
Of course. Yeah, because like during these years, I was contacted and, sometimes they give you the order you cannot say no. Like many years ago, I had this really nasty conversation with FSB colonel, and he literally told me on the phone, if you're not doing that, your son will be kidnapped. That's it. Literally like that, on the fucking phone. Like that. And what can I do? Right? So that's it. Like, so sometimes people say like, oh, this women, female agents, why they do this, or like, why like they, they could say no, whatever. They may not. They have family members or like they have whatever and in their life and they just cannot say no. You have to do what you have to do in order to protect your family. So this is my reasons why I went public in America, only here, after living in so many different countries. I don't know, dude. I just try to survive and just trying to to live like
it's a weird game you have to play.
Yeah, at least normal life. I'm trying to. And I think after, revealing my identity and everything, it's amazing how the life is and how so many women, after like I shared my life public, like my background, so many women texted me in Instagram and it was sort of like, please, I beg you, like I want to sue, please help me. You know how many, like it was insane. Or like, oh, I was sex trafficked, I was abused, my husband left me, I am lost, I'm single, I hate myself or whatever. I'm in pain. So many. And I do believe in science and the life science. I learned to be more spiritual rather than think from my just brain. So I learned how to be connected with my body and all that. So, and feel also energies. But also for the agents, it's very important to trust your gut in order to understand who's in front of you and everything. So when I received so many messages, I was thinking, probably this is like the sign. How can I help? What can I do for them? And the thing is, the first question is, how did you go through what you've been through to the point where, like, I don't know, I don't feel this way, but everybody who knows me, they always tell me, like, you're so confident. You are so strong. I just feel your strengths. I just, I can feel your support. Like, you have this, like, aura and all that. I don't know about this. It's just like the way I am. But I feel like when people come to me and ask for help, I cannot say no, because that's the way I was trained. That's the way, I supposed to work. That's the way how I supposed to protect people. Because when kidnapped women, girls would ask for help in that houses where we would like enter and help them, that was my job. I couldn't say no. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to help them, to rescue them. And when women come to me right now and ask me for help, I cannot say no. And that's what I started to do. I feel this is my huge passion, which drives me every single day, despite the fact that I'm tired, exhausted, or whatever. I cannot give up or just like, I don't know, shift or something because of this. Because I feel this is my passion and this is my real mission, where I feel like they come to me, they ask for help. I want to help, and I know I can help, because I also see so many transformations and so many amazing, beautiful stories from A to B, from living in pain and being completely lost and depressed to being the best version of yourself and believing in yourself and being the star. It's amazing. It's the best achievement for me in my life.
Have you ever been close to taking your life?
Yes, of course. Not once before. I mean, yes. Straight after, I felt a huge guilt when Vladimir was killed, because I had this guilt that it was because of me. We have that. So I, really hard to say about that because I'm raising my son. But it was a really dark period of my life where I just tried to, and I did drugs in order to overdose myself. And sometimes, thank God, not often, because I work on that and I work with therapists and all that. Sometimes, rarely, but if I, let's say, I always try to be sober. I mean, I don't drink alcohol for this reason. I don't take drugs for this reason, because once when I had drinks enough, I went to that state when I remembered the guilt, and the guilt is literally killing you. You cannot live with this pain, and the pain is so overwhelming that it's just, if you've ever experienced a tooth pain or like migraine, where you just cannot tolerate that and nothing helps, like at that point that you just want to kill yourself because you can't any longer, like, just exist with this pain. That's the pain I'm talking about. It's, I wish nobody ever experienced this pain, because this pain, migraine will leave at some point. You'll go to the dentist and he will fix your tooth. But if you have the soul pain and it's there, you can't remove it. It's terrible. So, yes.
How did you find out that Vladimir was taken out?
First of all, news online. Second of all, the guy, he's actually close friend who was not criminal. He was the one who actually helped. I mean, he came in the night, took me when Vladimir asked him, and he drove me to another city where he gave me the safe house. So he was the one with whom I stayed connected. He told me, and then they're like, it's been in newspapers news, and that's it. That's it. Sometimes I think that I want to do what I do, and also I want to create this charitable foundation for, orphan kids because of Vladimir, to continue his legacy, sort of. I want to do it. This is the way I feel like my main mission, and that's how everything I do this for this. I just want to do it for those children who don't have any possibilities for whatever future.
I would never be able to understand how you view this, but like the particular guilt that you have with Vladimir,
Yeah.
do you think that's because he saved you in a way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. He sacrificed his life for mine. Yeah.
Is that what you think about when you think about
I thought
feel
about
bad?
this before. Now I don't think this way because, of course, it was a setup. I understand logically how it was orchestrated by my commander and that second criminal leader. I understand that. If it wouldn't be me, it would be anyone else, and it would be the same situation. Or they would just simply create eventually an assassination for Vladimir in another way. Let's say the car crash or car accident or whatever would happen with him. Eventually they would do that. So I understand it's not my guilt. It's just sometimes it's easy to blame yourself for some events in your life because it's sort of like easier, or because you are in this victim mentality that you want to suffer. You want to have these negative emotions to put yourself into this darkness. Does make sense?
That does make sense. So that's when you're 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And then what age did you come here?
I came here 5 years ago. But I lived all these years, I lived in so many countries.
So that event led you to getting out of Russia. And another event in Europe allowed you to come
I could
here?
stay in Russia, really. I mean, like, theoretically, I could. It would be just risky and all that. I could still. I mean, really, if you think like that.
But you weren't allowed to leave at the time, right?
When I spoke with my commander, the main one, he said 2 options. Option number 1, you become a legal agent. Illegal means that you work in any other country and you have double life and you report wherever you see or wherever you work on, spying, getting information, connecting with right people, Second option is to continue officially work there, but in another city, in another department, because that time, of course, I couldn't stay there. I mean, in that city. So, but you do understand it's the same system, so it would be more or less the same. And I didn't want none of those options, where I did like the fact that he said, like, well, in your situation, of course, it's better to leave Russia and just wait till everything will just come down. Over time, it's been already, 20 years? There were so many changes. There are not so much anymore like criminal activities like before, like that amount and that huge, like, powerful activities. Because now, as you know, Vladimir Putin really kind of like created that sort of like he legitimized the whole businesses, and then it's just I would say, yeah, it's better than before. People don't kill each other on the streets, so it's more sort of like clean, but I don't know. See, I haven't been in Russia for so long. I really do not know what's happening really inside. All I know is when I speak with somebody and then they tell me.
What do you suspect is different in any country when it comes to intelligence and technology?
I mean, because of like AI situation. I mean, look, really AI and ChatGPTs, if you use it wisely, it can really help you, right? Everything is manipulated. Everything online, in internet or whatever. You read about someone or you get information about someone, it can be fake. It can be disinformation, because also that was part of the spy job, to give to disinformate someone, right? In order to just like put them into another path. Let's say you are the spy for America and I'm for Russia. And let's say we have this case. You want to know more information. So you go and recruit some Russian politician, for example, or military person. But he, a real patriot, and he would give you fake information about that particular case. So he would misinform you. And that's what I'm saying about online and ChatGPT. So wherever, like, people need to know this is great tools, but it also can lead into like misleading information, because it's online. Like, you can create so many websites, so many pages, so many bots, so many things, and you need to check everything a few times in different platforms. Also newspapers, like old newspapers, books, wherever, and have maps, exactly, and have your own opinion about everything. Not just, okay, according to ChatGPT, blah, blah, blah. I get it, but still, I mean, ChatGPT is basically what? Like the online, it's basically like, you know, Google. What is Google? It's like what we write there every day. So it's, you know how it is.
Is it common for a spy, theoretically, to tell the man that, like, oh, these other women, they're bad for you. Like, just be with me. Like, it's good to be loyal. That's the masculine thing to do. Is that a common thing?
I think it's a common thing for every woman.
Right. Well, I guess if you find a target that, like, is more of a playboy.
Okay, here's the thing. If a female spy wants this target to be loyal, she can simply install some programming techniques on his body, basically program his brain, program his body, put some anchors so the target won't be even able to be aroused with another woman.
Give me an example.
Okay, so let's say, as you said, he is a playboy and he has a lot of female attention, right? There are some techniques which we studied. They're sort of like dark manipulation techniques based on the sex particular thing, where I mentioned before that man's most vulnerable state is during the orgasm and during basically the whole intercourse, especially after ejaculation, right? Because men are the most relaxed after the ejaculation. They're sort of in this bliss. This is the moment where a woman can install different programs. If a woman will tell whisper to his ear, telling, I am the best woman in your life. You'll never be able to have any other women. Because this is actually the program. This is the way they teach female spies how to make your target to be obsessed.
You say you're the best.
Not only. You can say anything at that moment, even if you buying me Chanel bag right now, like today, it still will work. Believe me.
Hey, really quick, if you're a fan of this podcast and want to support free speech, I just launched a Patreon and it's only $8 for the first 300 people. When you join, you get access to all my episodes uncensored, early, and ad-free, as well as the chance to ask each guest that comes on my podcast a question, and we'll say your name. We also have some cool behind-the-scenes footage, unreleased episodes, and once a month, I hop on a 45-minute Zoom call where you can ask me anything you want. So if you want to check it out, just go to jackneel.com/Patreon or scan the QR code on screen. Again, jackneel.com/Patreon. Anyway, guys, back to the podcast.
That moment, straight after ejaculation, at the moment of like the peak of the orgasm, man's brain is the most relaxed. It's the most important and effective, receptive. So when a woman tells him at that moment that I'm the best woman in your life, you will never ever have any other amazing sex with anyone else. It's very important to stress we, not I or you, we. So you unite both of you together. We have the best sex. You'd never ever experience anything like this with anyone else. I'm the best. You'll never find anyone better than me. This is a programming, okay? And this is also an anchor. So if she goes further and she places the anchor, let's say on his body, for example, it has to be quite private spot, but not too kind of like private. So it shouldn't be on the...
like a touch on the chest, perhaps.
Touch on the chest, but also what kind of touch on the chest? So for example, when somebody meets you, like your friend, like, hey buddy, right? And slap you. So it won't work. But a specific touch, for example, using nails, let's say at the neck, or maybe a particular ear, or maybe particular like the shoulder, but sort of like, when women lay down after intercourse on the chest of a man, and she would sort of like play with her nails going through the body and would tell him all these amazing things about them. Of course, about him, how amazing he is and he's the best and blah, blah, blah. But also us, we have the best sex. We are the best couple. We are the Pope couple. You'll never find anyone better than me. Or like, even like, I know you love me, but this is not a question. This is a statement. I know you love me. I know you care about me. I know how important I am for you. I'm the one for you. It's a statement. It's a programming. Plus the anchor on the body after the intercourse. Together, that's the programming technique.
Did you ever use like aggression or fighting or like being rude strategically?
Okay, so if it's a target, never. This is something you have to be always in control. Unless your target wants in sex a dominant woman. This is different. Because like if, he has this sort of fetish and you behave like a dominatrix lady, then it's okay. It's like a play. It's like
but you would never just yell at a guy.
No. Because this is a taboo, I would say. Okay? If it's your target. Besides, also according to psychology of man, men don't operate in a way when women scream, they just simply do not understand and they will never remember. So if you really want your man to remember and do what you want, say it almost like whispering, especially when he's in the most relaxed position, which is after sex.
Can you quickly identify, like, are you able to quickly identify a man's fetishes?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, how do you quickly tell someone's sexual fantasies?
The way they look and where they look. And for a female, showing her parts of the body differently in a different moment. For example, let's say you see a girl who is almost naked. There is no imagination about her body and, some certain intimate things. Where, for example, an experienced female spy, she would come for a date to provoke and tease the target, let's say in a layers clothes. For example, like I have jacket right now, right? We have a conversation. To show that I trust you and I want to be open with you, I would remove my jacket slowly to show you part of my body, my shoulders, my, like my neck. So it's very intimate thing. Wrist, for example, also, this is the first thing, right? A female can show. Then, to show that you even more closer and to see if he's into like different fetishes. Me particular, but I've been told and learned this technique. You can slightly remove your shoes and show your beautiful pedicure, because there is no man in this world who doesn't like a beautiful pedicured toes. I'm telling you that. And dear females, dear ladies, you have to take care about your toes, because this is what men really look at. You can have beautiful manicure and all that, beautiful hair, and you're super clean and, just had a shower. But if you don't have a pedicure, it can like literally like just back up any sort of man who is the most interested in you. So this is important. So when you show different parts of your body, or maybe you can sit in a way, or like maybe you can just lean, or like show your curves, like, or like subtle touch, or just like some gestures. And then you always look at body reaction of your target and also facial expressions. As I said, body never lies. The body reaction never lies. We can tell whatever we want them or like whoever target to hear. But when you ask question, always look at the body reaction, at the facial expressions. Eyes never lie, never. Like different things, like when people don't want to hear or they're confused or something, they start to touch their lips, like they, ears, like hair. Again, like they want to back up, or they want to feel comfortable, or they want to support themselves in sort of like confusing situation or something. They would, close their arms. Women, for example, would do this thing where they would put the back when they sit like this. So it's a protection. Sort of like she wants to protect. She doesn't trust the guy. She's shy. She wants to have the sort of like a kind of like a wall between herself and the man. So it's very important to look and observe everyone's really the body reaction. And when a female slowly shows her, part of your bodies slowly. In reality, you can kind of like understand what is he about. Depends where he looks at longer, or like with more like, you will see in the eyes, you will understand, oh, he's into this part. And that also depends. For example, we don't have a glass, but let's say, how do you hold the glass of the drink? Do you play with that? Or like, do you hold it? Do you hold it strong? Or like, how do you open the bottle? How do you like keep it? You always check the reaction so you can understand what is this person's fetishes. It's really observation, especially if you go into conversation about, more sexy conversation, then it's very easier to get this information out of the man, especially if you ask like, would you like to share about your, your previous experiences? Like, what did you like, what you didn't like, and all that. So give the target time to share, to be open, and perform active listening. Like, give this sort of like space for him to share. Because really, men, they want women to understand their fetishes. It's okay, it's normal. Everybody has their own thing. But they don't want to make it such a big deal. They want like a woman to be okay with these fetishes, wherever it is.
As a female spy, did you find yourself being coy, like acting innocent, or did you find yourself being seductive?
Depends from the target. Different people, different preferences. So that's why before you meet your target, you have to gather information. And that's what I always teach my female students. Get information. Social media, internet profile, like every information you can find, LinkedIn, wherever, like also his work, colleagues, hobbies, interests, everything really. There's so many tools right now. That's why, I said like nowadays you can get so much information about anyone, which is great because this is like, it makes you to feel secure and protected. But once you gather all this information, you adopt yourself to sort of like him. Because if you want to get him, right, if it's your target, you should adopt yourself to be the best for him, right? Because we are not talking about love here. We're talking about seduction, particular, how to make him to like you. What do? We reflect the way he is or like she is. And it's not about just mirroring techniques, which is like copying the body posture and, facial expressions and tone of voice and even breath. It's not just that. It's not just repeating the same words which your target usually use, like amazing, I would say da-da-da, or you know what, like this kind of like, words or like statements. So it's not just adapting yourself to this, but also the way you dress, right? So it's not just when you are trying to wear similar colors, what he usually wears, because you can see in social media, what does he wear? What does he, what kind of brands does he wear? What is this style? And what is he about? So of course, if he's the guy who's wearing always jeans and t-shirts and you come like in a haute couture dress, very like, it's already kind of like disbalanced. But imagine you come also wearing jeans and cool shirt and like be this kind of girl. It would be much easier for him because his brain would relate yourself to him like, oh, she's cool. She's like, she has the same vibe. Because we are people, we always trust and we like people who are sort of in the same tribe. We, as a human beings, we want to unite into tribes, into communities. You know how it is like, oh, like even in high school, this group, another group, whatever. So like all these different groups, and they are almost like brothers or sisters. They all look the same and they do the same thing. That's exactly what I'm saying. When you meet your target, you want to be in his tribe so he can trust you and he can like you instantly. So that's why you adopt yourself to him. And after you gather this information about him, and after you doing all this mirroring and copying techniques, you practice active listening, which is not just listening and be like this doll with these eyes, but guide him, giving him these questions which will turn into the direction you want him to go, and connect yourself with his positive, happy moments in his life, which are the most happy moment of our lives, usually in our childhood. So asking questions about his childhood, if they are positive, I'm talking about like relationship with parents, siblings, if it's positive and you can see that he's happy and he talks about it and he's like, motivated, then you can perform anchoring techniques like you just met, right? So you attach yourself to these happy memories. You tell him, oh my God, what was your dream when you were a little boy? Blah, blah, blah. And astronaut, a policeman. Oh my God, can you imagine? Me too. I dream about this profession. It's so fascinating. Oh, blah, blah, blah. I support you completely. And at the same time, you touch his knee or shoulder, look into his eyes, and basically his brain connects his happy memories with you, which means that the brain starts to trust you. That's how you build this trust.
Aliia, how many men do you think are still in love with you?
I literally had this conversation yesterday. I can't believe that. Oh my God, this is amazing. Okay. The answer number one, how many men fall in love? I never counted how many men I had because at some point I stopped. I couldn't. It was too much for me to digest. Number one. But I would say all of them, 100%. First of all, I never experienced that the man would leave me. It was always me leaving them. Of course, because it was partly due to my job. Of course, because I had to leave, blah, blah, blah. Yes, but I have a thing about men. Imagine I meet a guy I'm interested physically. He is interested physically in the beginning because men always interested physically in the beginning, right? Then I don't want to do it, but it's just the way I am. Mastering the art of seduction or whatever is just me. It's my DNA. So I genuinely do these techniques to a man and he feels the best. It's just the way I am, the way I communicate with man, with the world, that's it. Hence, after being physical, he get obsessed, attached, or he may say I'm in love, where I understand it's not really love, to be honest, because what is love? Love is a set of a lot of things which only happening after a certain time where you've been together with your partner for quite a long time, where you've been with him in different situations and you know how the person is behaving in different situations, where you actually build this trust, looking at his life activities and promises he gave you and whatever he does, like the way he behaves. And then eventually, I would say, when you really went together through like many different life challenges and like events, you can say, yeah, I love this person because I totally trust him or her. And, you know, I totally get his or her back. 100%. Yes. This is physical interest and this chemistry and all this. It's amazing, but it's not love. So people don't really, a lot of people, they don't understand the difference between love and this art of seduction, the chemistry, and this like first beginning of this like butterflies in the belly thing, which is beautiful. I mean, it's amazing. I get into the state, which is good. I don't get into the further state. That's the whole thing, because I probably understand how the world is and the psychology of people and all that. But I do believe these sort of men, they do exist. It's just a matter of finding probably the right partner. A normal good guy. Yes, with me, he would fall in love, because it's just the way I behave, which is using these techniques without even me understanding that I'm using it, because this is the way I operate and I live. But the thing is, I do understand that this is his obsession because of the way I am, because it's so many factors like, oh, it's intrigue, she's mysterious and she's different and she's unique and she's just like, makes me feel so good and the best, you know, because I know how to do it, because I always do it to everyone, not just for men, but for my girlfriends, for my son, for like my colleagues, everyone. It's just the way I am, the way I live, right? So I understand it's not love, it's sort of obsession. What I usually do when I see that the man goes into the direction like, I want you fully and I'm obsessed and like, I cannot live without you, I block them.
Has that happened a few times?
No, it's happened actually. Oh, if you open my telephone, it's like so many blocks. And the funniest thing, oh my God, it's hilarious. Sorry, I cannot. The funny thing, I meet them sometimes. I bumped into them. Like I go somewhere, you know, now I'm in LA and I go to like, it's not so many restaurants you go, right? Like more or less all the same. So sometimes I go somewhere and I see this man and they would come to me and they're, what happened? Like, you left? I tried to call you to ask if you're safe and you got home safe. And I realized that I'm blocked. What happened? And that would be the awkward situation. It would be so bad. Embarrassing, actually, for me. But the thing is, my explanation is very simple. When I realize that the man wants from me something which I cannot give him, like, for example, family and having kids and this sort of life, like normal, happy human life. For me, it's better to cut it completely like that. Sometimes I explain, sometimes I don't, depends from the situation, block. So basically cut it off, because I want him to find and invest his time to another woman who can give it to him, because I cannot. It would be so terrible and selfish from my point to have this guy hoping and having these expectations, building something with me where I know that it will never happen because I'm just different woman. Why would I do this to a man, especially after some time when he's completely involved, he completely invested his time and energy into our relationship. And then after 1 or 2 or 3 years, I would say, sorry, dude, by the way, I wanted to tell you I'm a former spy, so I cannot have this relationship, so I cannot get married with you and have kids, so sorry. You know what? It's so cruel to a man. I'd rather, when I see this happening, like in the first stage of relationship, I'll simply walk away. Because I want him, and I sometimes tell like, dude, I really want you to be happy. I'm not the right woman for you. And you know how men are. If you say no, they want you even more. But the thing is, I try to explain, like, this is not my life. What you want, it's not my life. You will find somebody much better than me, believe me. And I wish to see you one day sitting in the restaurant with your wife and a newborn kid being absolutely happy. And this will happen, but it's not me. Okay? So that's why I vlog.
Fair. Yeah. I will say I know a lot of successful guys who probably should be doing that more, because it's
Block
like,
women?
yeah, because it's like obviously they're not going to marry them. And if they say something like that, as good-hearted and genuine as it could be, like that might make the woman be like, oh, he's really valuable. I shouldn't leave him alone now. You know what I mean? Like kind of like what you're saying, the guys chase even more.
Look, I always teach and tell my girlfriends, my students, my community members, do not waste your precious time, because there's only one asset you really have in your life, to someone who is not going the same way. Like in the beginning of relationship, any business, romantic, friendship, whatever, you have to speak with people in the beginning and state, what do you want? What is your goal? Where do you want to get? Why do you need particular this partner or another partner? Like, what is your best type of partner? Like, speak,
That's
communicate.
great advice. Because if you don't do that, what the other person wants is what's going to happen. You know, you have to know
and then
what
you waste
want.
your time.
Right.
And then after 3, 5, sometimes like women, they live with some guys like 5 years and like 10, and it's like, I'm still waiting for a ring. I'm like, sorry, it's not his mistake. It's yours. You can still wait for another 20 years. Like, don't blame him, where in the beginning you didn't state what you want. Because if you would tell that and you would have a normal conversation, you would understand what does he want. And that's the first rule of any spies. Find what your target needs and desires. This is number one. It's not about you, it's about them first. You want him. So find out what does he want, what is he about. And then you will understand, oh, do we have the same goal? Or like we're in completely separate pages?
What perfume did you wear as a sex spy?
Oh my God, that's my favorite question. You cannot imagine how many people actually ask me this question. In the beginning, before you communicate with anyone, you may not even know or realize, but you smell the person who is in front of you. And there were a special spy perfume. I don't know even how to call it, because there was no really name. I would say maybe KGB ingredients, which only were invented by, scientists, perfumers in Soviet Union, which were giving to us in a little small bottle, which in reality had a very subtle odor, like very subtle scent. But it contained this, not only pheromones or whatever, it contained this special ingredients, which is, yes, it's the root of this plant and so on. That's what they said to us. But it had this, they said it's sort of like a sex ingredient, and mixed it all together. When you put it on your skin, it makes your smell become even more vibrant and more sexier. I actually still have a little bit left, believe it or not. A little bottle, almost done, but I still have it. And if I really, really need it for a special even business meetings, for pitching my projects or wherever, I put a little drop and it always works. How? Because, yes, it's not just because it's, when you smell the way people like, they instantly like you. Wherever you stay, wherever you do. Great example is the movie Perfume. If you remember that movie, the guy had an amazing nose, right? And he created, from killing beautiful women, he created this special scent And the scent of this perfume was so beautiful that when he opened it, people, a huge crowd, started to have orgies just because of this smell. That's how actually smell affects us. Because we still sort of like animal. We have these animal instincts. So the perfume, I want to reproduce and actually, give
Sell
it to, sort of like, I don't want to make it like too high prices because I want people, especially women, genuinely feel powerful, sexist, beautiful, feminine, which is the most important because it's also once you put it, you like the smell and you just feel it and your whole energy and everything changes. It's also, I remember there was like some oils, oil, also like some oils which actually organic. So it's, very healthy and it would increase your sort of like vibration and chakras and whatever it is, like energy, something. But it actually makes you to feel beautiful and sexy. And with this energy, you walk into the room, wherever it is, like a business meeting, it's a date, or like, I don't know, a family gathering or whatever. It's just the way you feel about yourself. And it's really beautiful. So that's what I want to actually do now in a few months and release this thing. I just literally had that idea when we spoke about it. I was like, oh my God, like I wish I could like give it to women, especially to understand how does it work, how important is that as well for women, like to have this. Because you know what? You ask me that question about men, what men do observe in women. You know what they do? Smell. So of course, a woman has to be, hygienic. So clean hair, clean skin, beautiful. Quite newly, like manicure, pedicure, all these things, of course. But what is it really? It's about the smell, right? Because that's how you communicate with people in the beginning, like a first few seconds. That's what it is. And you cannot even get aroused with a woman who doesn't smell the way you want, right? If she doesn't smell good for you, like that's it.
Does it literally make the guy more aroused, or does it make, like if you're a woman and you spray it, does it make you more aroused as well? And that's like part of it?
Both way. I don't know if I can share this technique here for your audience. It's very provocative. But to make it less provocative, I would just try to explain. So when women are aroused, right, they're like excited and playful, and they're like in this sort of like mode, they brain creates pheromones, hormones. These pheromones attracts men. For example, if a woman before a date or before getting into public whatever place, if she would arouse herself, but not till the moment she would ejaculate, let's say, having an orgasm, if she would with this date go to the place, public place, that's actually what we used to do with our targets. Her whole energy, the way she presents herself, the posture, eyes, cheeks blushing, eyes like they have like a certain look. When woman wants sex, her eyes, you know what I'm talking about. It's different. It's just different.
A good way to explain this as well is I think like makeup, like the red lips and like blush is really just a reflection of women in a state of arousal, because like if any woman has been aroused before, hopefully they have, they like their lips get red. I mean, it happens to guys too. Like you get all the blush in your face.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so that kind of makes sense that you want to put yourself in that state so people are more open to you.
Yeah, but imagine this girl has the beautiful makeup, this like the most sexiest makeup, but she doesn't have that energy and she's literally off. Okay. And she doesn't feel sexy about her. In fact, like she feels like miserable or whatever, but she's beautiful.
Mm.
Would you be interested in her as a man? I don't think so. Because like there is no this, it's not just about appearance, really. It's about the way we present ourselves. It's about our energy. It's about our vibration. It's about our body language, the way we like just enter the room. These first few seconds are the most important before you even open your mouth.
If you go to a bar or a club, you'll notice it's not necessarily the most beautiful women getting approached. It's the ones that are the most open to getting approached.
Yeah,
you know?
and playful and like cool and fun. And they have like the best time, like, you know, and you like, because look, on an energy level, she's like having this very positive vibe, right? So you want to join it because you want to kind of like also get it. You want to kind of like exchange. You want to be in this aura. Whereas like vice versa, we all connected through the energy. And if you would stand like or hang out with like people who are miserable or negative or whatever, eventually you'd become negative yourself, obviously. So of course, men, they come and approach to these girls who have fun, who enjoying themselves, who are not there to, you know, look for someone or finding someone or wherever. They just came there to have fun. So,
in your program, were there male Russian sex spies?
Yeah, of course, Romeos.
Are there as many male sex spies as females?
Yeah, of course.
And they're going for men.
They're going, no, not necessarily. They're going for, you know how many women have like how many women, even in the history, there's so many facts about that. How many women actually gave so important classified information because they were in love with Romeos, with the male spies. The one who is the secretary of this diplomat, blah, blah. The one who is the secretary of the ambassador, blah, blah. This ladies having the first approach and connection with your target. If you cannot get your target as like this high target as an ambassador, whom do you approach? His inner circle. Who is the inner circle? The security driver, blah, 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 housekeeper, and the assistant, the secretary. She knows everything about her boss. She sees everything.
But is it ever like guy?
Guy to guy, yes, as well. If he's obviously not straight, yes.
Is that common?
It's quite common. Yeah. Because, again, like a lot of people are bisexual. So sometimes you would never know, but the guy who's married with so many kids actually is dreaming about being with another man, which is also normal and common.
Are there any spy techniques that the Romeos use that would be useful for men that aren't too manipulative?
Yes. Yeah, I can share some. In fact, like, you know, I had interesting experience of having not like date, but having subtle flirting with former Romeo's agents. And I was just intrigued and fascinated the way they operated on me. It's just interesting. It's just interesting for me to analyze how do they do this. And here are a few tips for men, which Romeos use. Romeos, I mean...
And they worked on you to an extent.
Of course it doesn't. Are you kidding me? I mean...
Back to the Romeo
tips.
Sex techniques.
Yes. Tips for men, how to seduce women. Of course, we're not getting into really manipulative stuff. It's not a pickup art. But
Well, you could frame it as what's one dark technique a male sex spy might use that a woman should be aware of to protect herself?
Okay. That's a great question. And then all men, take please your notes and please write down what to do, because this is the most effective technique. Okay. It is really effective technique. And people, please be sustainable and respectful to each other. The most important is to make a woman, your target, to feel obviously that she is the only one in the whole planet. And you know how to do it, right? To make her feel that she is with the gentleman, even if you're not. So, I mean, open the bottle, bring her the glass, open the door, give her the coat, put the chair like closer to the table. All these little details are very important to do if you want to get that woman in the beginning, like the most. I mean, of course, it's great if you do it after, if you're in a relationship, but I'm talking about the seduction part. And same story, perform active listening. Of course, you can do all the mirroring techniques which we discussed before. Of course, you can go also into the connection with her happy memories in her childhood or in her teenage years, and bring and connect yourself with that happy memories. And obviously you can put anchors. And of course, you absolutely should connect with her on the touch, like touch her in the beginning. If you touch her hand while you talk, and you always check the reaction. If she is okay and she didn't pull out her hand, it means that she sort of like already started to trust you. If she pull it back, no worries. It's okay. Do not react. It's totally fine. Try later. But the thing is here, according to female psychology, women have a certain, and you've heard about that, and I do believe men especially, they know about this. Women have this 3 dates rule. But you want to get her in the first date. You maybe don't have time for another 3 dates, for example. You need to create, and that's what is basically the way social engineering program is about, when you create a setup for your target. For example, with my target, we would create all this setup like, and I mentioned that before, that unrealistic virtual bubble. So his peripheral vision would notice it, but not really him. And based on that sort of like visions, he would make a final decision. So you create for your female target the same thing. For example, 3 dates rule means that take her to 3 different places. First could be bar you met. Then you could say, oh, I know this amazing lounge or wherever, you go there. Or maybe we should play bowling, or maybe we should do hiking, or maybe we should go to my friend party, or maybe we should go to the club or something, depends. But again, she is the only one. And a setup, a social engineering, I'm talking about when you, for example, ask your girlfriend, like a girl who is your friend, or a girlfriend of your best friend, oh, can you please come while we dance on a dance floor, or while we talk during, like, you know, drinking whatever, our alcohol, and tell how amazing I am, or sort of like flirt with me a little bit, but like sort of create this virtual competition. What will happen? Your female target will think, oh, he's popular. If I will not, you know, if I will not decide quickly, he'll be taken because there's so many like women look at him or whatever. Also, you can ask your friend, the male friend, to come and also like give some good words while you would go to the restroom and be kind of like busy during that time. Somebody of your friends would say how amazing you are and how loyal you are, and you didn't have relationship for a long time and you're looking for settling down, for example. Because when man says, and this is a big mistake, when man says in the beginning of first dates, I want to get married, I want to have kids with you.
How many kids are we going to have?
Yeah, this is so red flag. Like only, stupid women will, really go for it. But like women are not that stupid. So
Did these guys try to do something that would spike the girl's adrenaline? Like a roller coaster or like
this can also sort of help. That's why high school kids, they fell in love so fast and they have the wildest sex after that. Yeah, of course. Adrenaline, all these like hormones. Yes, of course, it does work, obviously.
So you think the 3 location thing is like typically the
3 locations, number 1. Number 2, create a setup, like the social engineering, which you can like just prepare everything, prepare your friends in advance. Create this, for example, virtual call from your grandma, and you would be so nice. Oh, grandma, I love you so much. I'll come tomorrow to help you with your laundry. Yes, I know you're tired. Like, let me help you. Oh, mommy. Same story. Even though you're just like holding the phone and just pretend. It's a setup. It's all not real, but you show the best. Like it's kind of like you put in this mask. So that's why I'm saying it's a, it's a total setup. It's not real thing, but it does work.
Last question here. If that shy girl who was oblivious to the world and thought she wasn't beautiful saw you today, what do you think she would misunderstand about you the most?
Thank God, when we are kids, we don't understand a lot of things. Thank God. Otherwise I think like it would be so tough. And that's why I want to create these orphanages for these kids who don't have anything in their life, because I don't want them to suffer and see the reality of life so soon. I want them to be kids and enjoy their childhood. And I was about 5 years old when I saw the dead body of a little girl who was at the time 3 years old on the street, whom I, before that, used to feed. I would literally steal bread and butter, make these sandwiches and bring it to this girl because she was almost homeless. I mean, she had sort of mother, but then the mother had so many kids, and then she was always drunk and whatever, high or whatever. So these kids were on the street all the time. And that reality of understanding how the world is, and that these innocent souls, innocent kids have to die because they don't have any support or anyone, it's not even just confusing, but like confusing in the way, where is the justice in this world? Why is it like that? But it also created the thing that guided me through the military and through the dangerous moments in my life and through my dark moments. And now it's only one thing, that I may be confused as a child because I wanted the world to be justice and right. And now I feel like, what can I do to make it like that? What the best can I do for the world, and how can I help? And what sort of legacy can I leave after my life? How can I help people and what can I do for people and for our planet, which is our home. So I would say, my little girl, that yes, the world is not that right sometimes, but you can do so many things to make it be better. And you can inspire others to make better things.
Do you think she'd be confused about how you still have this positive outlook of wanting to help the world after experiencing some dark things yourself, seeing the darkness? And like, maybe she'd be a little like, you still like men, like you don't hate every man you see, you know, like you still want to help other people when other people have hurt you.
Try not to have any expectations from people. You cannot change people. You cannot them to do things they don't want to. And don't have this sort of like hopes, unrealistic hopes. And I'm very realistic. And in this case, I do not expect anything from people. If they do that, what we discussed and they promise and what was the deal, great, amazing. If they don't, I don't criticize them. I don't blame them. I don't judge them. It is what it is. It helps me a lot. And I know that it helps a lot of people to, go in life like that if they don't expect anything from people. Second, yes, I already been in the state where I hated myself. I hated the world. I hated people. And it didn't bring me anything good. As I said, I went into really, really dark state where I just didn't want to live. And then I had this choice. Either I'm staying in this miserable darkness and who knows what will happen with me. Either I do something with that and I build something for me, especially the life I want to live. And you know what? After so many years, finally, here in America, after, it's remarkable what happened really in America. And after sharing my story and everything, finally, after so many years, I can tell you right now that I live the life I love. That's my dream life. I feel freedom. I feel happiness. Finally, after so many years, it's amazing feeling. It's really amazing feeling. I'm so fucking proud of what I'm doing and I'm here. Like, it took me years and a lot of work. And yes, I do not hate men simply because I don't expect anything from them and simply because I understand the way they are and the psychology of man. And I look at people as my children, believe it or not. And there is a logical explanation. I feel and I think that because I know more than perhaps 90% of the population of the world, I'm not humble here, but I think that's the realistic number. And because I understand how does it work and everything, I feel this is my responsibility to help, share, and sort of protect people. Because if they are sort of like, I'm at the level 9, I don't know if you know about your number of your like date of birth. And according to your number, you kind of understand what's the level of the soul. So my level of my soul is 9, which is the
adaptable.
last. Yeah. So I am here not for buying houses, villas, and jets and just, enjoying my life, which probably my soul already done it in the past, which is great. I'm here to help, educate, inspire, and do my best for people. And probably the past I had to go in order to have this pain and go through this pain, transform myself in order to be here and share. I wouldn't be able to do it if I wouldn't have that past. So people for me, especially men, they are like 3 years old kids. How can you basically expect anything from 3 years old child? How can you scream at the 3 years old child? How can you like hate this little baby? How? You can't, right? So I look at them like that, really. And I'm just sort of like a guide, coach, mentor. But if you come and ask me, I need your help, I'll do my best to help.
You said you're a life path 9? And is that, you said that's the number of, we had a numerologist on recently.
Yeah.
And he said that to me was the number of the baby, which is funny.
So I also had this done with numerologists, different, and it's been like with different 4 natal map and astrology, and then sign zodiacs, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, you can also, and I also check ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So yeah, 9 is the last level.
So you think it's like you start as a 1, then a 2, and you're reincarnated?
Yeah. So I feel like, but this is also, look, why don't I want, with my techniques, with all my experience, I could fucking get a billionaire and live in a mansion and just do nothing. Why not, right? Why don't I do it?
I am curious why not.
Because this is the whole thing. Like, I am passionate about traveling the world, giving public speeches, inspiring women to do their thing, not to be alone, uniting people together, creating the community for women. Because that's what I want. This is my passion. That's what makes me go, and I feel alive. And believe me, I did try that life too. I had the guy, amazing guy. He's like, oh, you don't need to work. Let's just go to the spa. Let's just go to the shopping. Let's just go for holidays here and there. I had that. I didn't, you know how long I did last? 6 months. 6 fucking months. I said, listen, you're great. You're amazing. But this life is not for me. Like, I cannot just be a parasite. I get it. A lot of people want their life, and it's great and it's amazing, good for them. But it's not my life. Why? Because I'm fucking 9. That's why. Like, because I'm here to do my mission, and I cannot stop not doing that. And this is the only one thing which I want to do. I finally do what I really want to do.
What day were you born on?
18.
Oh, so that's a 9 as well.
No, it's this is 9 as well. And if you basically collect all the numbers of my date of birth, it's 9.
Gosh, people say numerology is not real, but I mean, for you to be the adapter, it's funny to me. I mean, you change your hair all the time. You were a spy. Like,
I change a lot of things all the time. I travel all the time. Like, I need all this to be in action. You know how exhausted I was after these trips? Like, I was traveling for 10 days. I told to Vanessa, I'm so tired. Like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do it. I have no power. Like, I'm exhausted. I want to sleep. Like, I don't have any energy. And then okay, I have to do what I have to do. I'm here, and we have a great conversation. But I would say why would I even need it, right? For what? I'll just enjoy myself, stay home. I mean, go to the spa or whatever, But this is the drive. It's inside of you. It just doesn't let you to just doing nothing. That's what I'm talking about. It's like your passion. It's everything. It's like your core.
what do you think Americans get wrong about Putin? And what do Americans get wrong about Russia, just in general?
So many things. So many things. It's simply because how could they? It was Iron Curtain. It was a Cold War. Even now, Russia doesn't have, and they banned every social media, if you know, WhatsApp, even internet they don't have. So simply, how would American people know anything about what's going on in Russia if it's basically, again, closed? And yes, sometimes people say like, oh, Russia, yeah, like you have this, everybody drinks vodka on the streets and like you have almost like, bears walking on the streets. Like, because of course there's no information about Russia. I think like only that interview really could change the perspective of American people with Carlson Tucker when he came to Russia and he did this interview with Putin, which was really interesting.
Why do you think Putin banned social media?
Simple, because, I mean, this is the way of the control. You don't know anything what's happening in the world. You are under the control. You only listen what you see in the TV channel, and what they tell you, you believe because there is no other sources. That's why I said in the beginning, people have to check different sources, different data, and different resources like newspapers and online, and like speak with someone in order to have their own opinion about something, because you cannot have your just one opinion according to what you see from one source. And this is very important. So American people, of course, they don't know how is life there. And I would say this, every nation, they have like different people, right? I know a lot of amazing Russian people, intelligent, smart, fascinating. I know a lot of like not really good people, but it doesn't make me to say like this nation is bad, as I can say the same about Ukraine. They're amazing also like Ukrainian people, as like some of them, they just like also under this like brainwashed situation, manipulated, so they don't see what's going on in the whole thing. And for American people, the same thing. Everybody has to have their own opinion and check different information from different sources, because unfortunately in our media, what we see, it's so, I cannot say it's manipulated, but it's very
Specific to the person.
Yeah, it's like the message they send is direct. And it's really like, sometimes it's very accusing. It's like that, that's it. And I want to see evidences. I want to know more specific information. When it's not specific and it's like this, someone's opinion, someone's who? A journalist who has a special agenda to say certain things? How can you trust this media source?
Last question here. I think you could have an answer for this, but what's a conspiracy theory you 100% know is true?
Great question. I actually did discuss it with former CIA agent, so funny. I have no evidences of many things, but I have evidences of one thing, which I think is totally real. And I never actually share that experience. Some people probably will think I'm crazy, but who have had this experience, they will understand that I'm not. But a lot of things what I research and I see and I learn actually makes me think there is a society which actually control the whole thing. And it's not about countries and different nations and so on. It's sort of a control, but it's sort of like it could be good to bring here Matrix, because it's a good like explanation. There is. And it's not about like presidents we choose, and it's not about like, kings or leadership or wherever. Like, it's not about those people. It's about we really live in one planet, and we really are under control of one society.
Is that society human?
Okay, great question, Jack. I was in Russia. I was a teenager, so I cannot say I just made it up or it was something, whatever. As you know, my father that time was working in the military, and we lived in a specific military places, which is for military people, for their families, the kids, blah, blah, blah. They would call it like military town. I don't know if it does exist in America, but in Russia it was like that before. And one day, I saw just in front of me, I mean, it sounds so crazy, but it's like, I just can even remember this vision right now. So I don't know exactly how to call this thing, but I would probably say it was a big white, sort of like, it looked like a plate. And the thing is, when I looked at it, and the funny thing that there was some people around me, but they didn't see it somehow. So I was just looking at it like to this kind of like roof you have here. And I was thinking like, oh, this is so, like, what is this, right? The first thing you have like, oh, it's UFO, right? But the thing is, when I looked at it, I kind of like had a communication or telepathy or whatever. I don't know. I hope like nobody after that will take me to laboratory and study my brain. Oh my God. Because like we have this, we heard about these cases when people would disappear and then they would come back to the earth, and then they would send to laboratory and scientists would just like explore their brain. Poor people. Anyway, I don't know exactly what it was, okay? But it was obvious it was something not human design for sure. I had sort of like maybe communication, but very quick, and then I asked a lot of people who were there, like, did you see this? They're like, oh, we didn't. So I cannot really say that there was some witnesses, which is, I cannot really prove that. But just because I saw it myself and I still remember it, I would say that I could guess. I don't have evidences, but I could guess this society wouldn't be human.
I'm trying to put the pieces together of all of it, of that society, that theoretical society.
Listen, I know we want to know that, and it's amazing that we, have so many sources where we can learn it, even simply from social media, which is great. But I would say this, what I realized after working there and after knowing a lot of things, blah, 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 what I realized, and I said it in the beginning, that people do not want to know, a lot of people, and they're not ready. They're not ready to get out from Matrix. There are some people who want to know, okay, and like you, and, but sometimes if we open that door and we go there, I look at the rest of the people and I think they cannot just handle it. It's like, why government do not tell us civilians a lot of things? You know why? Not to really hide, okay, yes, hide these things, but in reality, they want to protect, and they sound so noble, they want to protect civilians from panicking.
It's true, yeah.
They would shoot and kill.
Right.
Because imagine people live their normal life for the whole, how many years, basic normal life. And then they said, oh, by the way, we have aliens as the presidents.
Yeah.
How do you like it, people? Like what I'm saying, like they're not ready. They don't want this information. So of course, for the government, it's better to hide it somehow, because like the rest of like this population, they're not ready for this information.
Andrew and I talked about that a bit. There's a reason that the Matrix exists.
Yeah, of course. And it's not just that. There's so many people, creators, and online, there's so many people trying to send this message and explain how does it work. How many movies do we have about this topic? How many YouTubers speak about this who actually went to the space, to some aliens, whatever, and then they came back and they were telling exactly what happened with them, and then they got disappeared, or like they still like whatever. But the thing is, look at the whole like society. Do they want to know really?
And what happens to you if you do know, you know?
Exactly. What will happen with them? They just want to know what will they eat for their dinner. That's what bothering them the most. Not about like what's there in Antarctic. Is it really another civilization or not? What kind of aliens do we have? Is this person in government alien or not? I wonder. You know what I'm saying? They want to know, what will I eat tonight and tomorrow?
Right.
That's what they want to know. And maybe it's not even I think it's not my power to just change like someone's mind or whatever, because like I want them to be happy.
Right.
Because sometimes I don't feel happy because I know too much. I don't. And it's also risky. Even us discussing this, it's already a big risk. I have to tell you that.